Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Melissa Culbertson. This is my first show here on Skydoor Entertainment, and welcome to Soul Connection. So, Soul Connection, why Soul Connection? Everything and everyone is connected in some way here on Earth and the other side. So, you will see me each week having different guests on that I have met in some capacity through the work that I do. So yeah, I'm super excited. So tonight we're going to have a really fun show here. I've got my good friend and other co-founder of One Meditation Studio that we have our t-shirts, have our shirts on here. Got my husband Brent here with me tonight too.
Everyone.
So hi Deb, thanks for being here. So I just give you a little download here about myself quickly. So I've been a medium for almost doing it for 8 years now. It's something I've had my entire life. Hey, Neil. And always had experiences as a young child. So about maybe 12, 15-ish years ago, just working on myself through some self-discovery, stumbled upon this gift. And the sound healing was definitely a catalyst for that as well. I'm born and raised in Dubuque, Iowa, and we don't just grow corn here. We live along the Mississippi here. Some call it the Driftless area. It's full of bluffs and rolling hills, just a very beautiful area here. So if you're ever in the neighborhood, stop on by. So like I said, grew up here in Dubuque. I've got my wonderful husband here of 24 years. Get that right? Usually wrong. And we have two sons, Sam and Aaron, and 23 years. Oh, okay. I am off. So I did hair for 19 years. And again, going through that self-discovery, stumbled upon my gift, and the man above said, you've got to go help people. So that's what I decided to do. So I started doing work in East Dubuque, Illinois, across the bridge from Iowa. And I worked in a haunted big old mansion. So I did my readings there. And then we did ghost hunts on the weekends as well. So a lot of fun, very interesting. Place to work. Then I decided to venture over to the other side of the river to Iowa, and I worked at the Center of I Am, a metaphysical shop, and that's where I got connected with the sound healing again. I had been doing it for years prior to that. And with the sad closing of that this last summer, I acquired the sound healing equipment. So with that, we have a very unique setup. We'll show some videos here later. We have a very rare Paiste gong. There's only 95 in the world, and we have one of them. So we're very fortunate to have that. It's 60 inches. We have a 50-inch Paiste gong, a 40-inch, and then we've got many crystal singing bowls as well. So we opened that up here in, was it August, September? So things are going good, and just excited to carry on that tradition of the gongs. All right, I do Reiki as well. So in my line of work, I also do some self-help classes, self-love classes, a class I curated, and I have one-on-one sessions and group sessions that I do, and helped hundreds and hundreds of people throughout the years, finding self-awareness, self-love, and it's just been great to do that along with my medium work as well. But tonight I wanted to have on Trish, and we're going to bring her on here. There she is. Hi, Trish. The other co-founder of One. So we actually had met through my self-love class, and that was about, is it 2 years now? Trish?
That sounds about right. I think so.
Yeah. So Trish was in the group with the self-love class. And when I conduct the group self-love classes, at the end, I always like to end with a gong bath. It's amazing how that incorporates with the healing of that as well. So a gong bath is you're immersed in the sound. It's not in water or anything like that. You're bathed in the sound, essentially. So the healing goes hand in hand with, working on, those other, things that we have to, bring up emotionally, healing those things and letting them go. The sound is definitely a great facilitator, helping move that around.
So I don't bring a bathing suit to the song?
No.
Okay.
You don't have to shave your legs either. We've had people like show up with bathing suits or like, oh, I didn't shave my legs, but you don't have to do any of that. So we'll get here to Trish. So just give us a little bit of a background about yourself, Trish, where you come from and what you do for a living.
Sure. I'm originally from Marinette, Wisconsin. It's north of Green Bay, about 45 minutes. So it is on Lake Michigan, but also on the Upper Peninsula. So it borders Menominee, Michigan. And I get told when I drink, my Yooper accent comes out. So pretty far up north. And then I went to Milwaukee for school, and for college. And then from there, I worked at Harley Davidson for a little bit. And then I went over and started at John Deere. So I've been at John Deere for almost 17 years now. So it was initially supposed to be 1 year and go back to Harley, but that didn't happen. So I'm an engineer over there. I'm an engineering supervisor currently. I just took a new position a little while ago. So.
Yay, congratulations.
So you drive trains? Is that what an engineer?
My son would like me to say yes to that. but no, he does really like excavators though. So I tell him I get to work on those. So I do construction equipment.
Yeah. Seen some of your things when we were there for a health fair, like her big posters of I designed that tractor. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I think so. I'm a design engineer. I'm actually an artist at heart. But I kind of figured if I just went for an artist, I might be a starving artist. So I decided to design engineer instead, because then I can still use my artistic talent to design things that don't exist yet. But
we do have some of your artwork too. Sorry, Feather. So I don't know if Dave can bring that up for you, but we've got a picture of your artwork here, and she designed my logo, so you see that. So hopefully we'll get that up here. We'll show your pictures. So, okay. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're okay. So
there it is.
There we go. So this is one of my favorites that I did. So Pocahontas. When I was a child and I heard "Colors of the Wind," that song, it really stuck with me. So as an adult, I think this was just last year or maybe 2 years ago. I drew this, and it has all the words from Colors of the Wind kind of woven in between it.
That's beautiful. Yeah. We've got some other pictures. Trish loves to go to Alaska.
I do. This was hiking. We went hiking on the top of the Harding ice field. So we had finally gotten up to the top, and luckily I was not in shape to get up this high. So luckily they have very, very long days, because by the time we got down, it was 10 o'clock at night. but we made it.
Yeah. And your two beautiful kids.
I do. Oh, there we go. Willow and Miles. So, yep, those are my babies. Willow is going to be 9 soon, and my little guy just turned 5.
Yeah, and they are such good kids, and hopefully Willow will follow in our footsteps someday.
Yeah, she absolutely loves it. So she sits at home all the time playing her little Tibetan singing bowl. So I know she definitely would love to be a part of it.
Yes. So, a little bit more background too. And you came to my self-love class, and prior to that, you just had some major surgery. So you were really, starting to get back on your feet again, really, so to speak. So can you just tell us a little bit about that? Because it's really important part of your journey as you begin to talk and tell us about your meditations and how they've evolved. So.
Yeah, it really is. So, I essentially ended up they said possibly hours from death. So I don't know whether it was hours or a couple days, but after I had my daughter Willow, it wasn't a usual labor and delivery. And after she was born, I got pretty sick. I started turning gray. And for a different reason, they ended up taking Willow to Iowa City, but I had to stay behind because of my infection. After a couple of days, they released me, and I went to go and meet with her. But throughout this whole time, I kept complaining. I kept saying I can't walk. My legs hurt really bad. And I would always just get told, oh, you know, you had a rough labor. Things were hard, you know, walk it off. Walking it off, that wasn't easy because I kept trying and it didn't work. But I got dismissed, got Willow, got home, and things just progressively got worse. And I got to the point where I just couldn't walk at all. And still no one was really helping me. So it ended up, you know, emergency ride. I was at UW-Madison. By the time I got there, I had 106 fever, and I was blacking out. So it was just kind of wake up, scream, I'd like shake my hands and scream, and then I'd pass out from the pain. And I kept doing that. And so I think at some point they just knocked me out because anything they were giving me intravenously wasn't doing anything. So I had a really rough time there for a couple days. Was really, really hard. When they got kind of my pain somewhat under control, so I could at least sit and not scream, or lay, I should say, and not scream. Then I was able to kind of see my daughter again and try, you know, I'm trying to be a new mom. So that's pretty hard. It was my first child, you know, trying to be a new mom. So I was able to finally like see her and hold her a bit. I still couldn't be moved or rolled or anything like that. After a couple of weeks, I still wasn't able to walk. I still was in a lot of pain, and I had to pick out my nursing home. So I didn't think at 30 years old I would be picking out my nursing home. So I picked out my nursing home because I had to learn how to walk. At that time, they weren't sure if I would be able to walk. So I essentially was told I had severe sepsis, and that I had, I want to say necrosis, and I don't know if I am pronouncing that correctly. Math major, not biology, but essentially the infection was eating at my muscles and my bones, and that's why I was in so much pain. And that's why my legs weren't working. And so I went to the nursing home, had a lot of therapy, was there for a couple months. They actually allowed me to have my daughter with me, so I owe them a lot of my life. I try and still, you know, go back there, and because I can't even imagine if I would have been separated from her yet again. It already was hard to connect with everything that was going on. And then when I was there, I asked, and I remember asking, can I have physical therapy twice a day? And they looked at me and laughed. And they're like, oh, we've never had anybody ask that before, but I'll find out for you. But, you know, you have this little baby, and I don't want to have her in a nursing home. She was 5 weeks early, so she was a little 5-pound preemie. So after a couple months, I was able to walk with a walker, at least. So I was able to get home, but I just wasn't improving. Ended up back with a specialist in in Madison, UW-Madison, and they essentially said I had no hips, that the infection ate them all, and that's why I still was in pain. So I ended up with 3 hip replacements in a year. So it was supposed to be 4. They managed to do it in 3. And the reason why is they put an antibiotic hip in first if you have a septic joint, and just to make sure there's no infection before they put in the final hip replacement. But we were able to do it in 3. So I clearly had a lot of issues at that time. And when I found your class, because I just gotten through all my surgeries, I finally, you know, I was walking, I was doing things on my own. I had another child actually. And was you know, working through all that, and I feel like I was finally starting to get my life somewhat back together, but that self-love wasn't there, and you know, being in pain every day doesn't help, because even after I have all those surgeries, it's a struggle I still have today of, you know, being in constant pain. And also, like, physically I was different, right? It's like I was 30 one day, I woke up and I was 70, and it never changed.
Yeah.
So I think that was like really hard coming to terms, because you feel like part of your life was robbed or taken from you. So I just really struggled. I remember not even looking at mirrors anymore. And I liked who I was inside for the most part. It was really just the outside. I mean, I would give everyone else the benefit of the doubt but myself. In your class, actually, you have the same picture right now for your self-love class. And I remember looking at it because there were words written on a woman's body. And I remember one of them was just acceptance. And I remember staring, because so essentially I had never been to the center of I Am. I had never met you before this. And that had come through my Facebook feed, I don't know, 2 or 3 times. And I just remember staring at it and staring at acceptance. And I realized I really need to learn to accept my new reality, accept, the cards that I was dealt, who I am. I was always very positive about it, but there still was just always this hope that things were going to be better, right? But I needed to accept what they were, and who I was. And I was a different person after than I was before. So I just remember that just sticking to me. And I was like, that's it. I'm signing up for this. I've seen it 3 times. It must be a sign.
The sign. Yeah.
And so I signed up for it, and it set my life in a whole different direction. So I'm beyond grateful that I did.
Yeah, and like I said, we would end each time with a gong bath, and so one of those gong baths was pretty profound for you. And from there on out, you really you started coming. I noticed, a couple times a week. So sometimes a few times a week coming to the gong bath. So you were really like, this is great. This is working for me. So can you explain a little bit more of what that meant to you and kept coming to the gong baths and how that evolved?
Yeah, so I didn't even know that there was sound meditation afterwards. I really just came because of really the words on that picture and knowing that I needed some work in the self-love category. And your classes were really good at just bringing up certain things to think about, think deeper on, and really try and get yourself to push through those moments. Inner child was probably my hardest one that I had to deal with. And during, it wasn't too far in, it was maybe like the second or third meditation, I had a suppressed memory from my childhood come up that was really profound. And I remember after that just staring at those gongs and being like, what are you? Because I don't know how how did I have this big of an experience from these? I tried meditating before, but I wasn't progressing. There's always too many distractions, and I wasn't moving how I wanted to move. And really ever since that one, I became way more intrigued because I kept looking for, well, if I had that happen, I bet you there's other similar experiences. And and I really got to connect to my guides, and kind of have some conversations there. And after the self-love class, that's when I really realized, when I didn't have it, I think for maybe even just a week or two, how much I needed that back in my life. So I think that was when I kind of started, all right, this needs to be a part of my life. And the more I came, the more things just happened, fell in line, the better I felt. My pain, it actually helped me with my chronic pain, and PTSD. I mean, I was actually seeing a therapist too at the time, and she was teaching me tapping and different things because of my hands shaking above those lights. I couldn't really look at commercial lighting because every time I saw commercial lights, I saw my hands shaking and my heart would just start racing. And so for some reason, yes, the tapping would help me, but for some reason, the more I came to sound meditation, the more just those thoughts didn't happen. I just seemed more calm in general, and I didn't have those panic attacks that I was having before, or the anxiety even. So that seemed to help a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing. Isn't it how it works? It's just, and you don't have to be, like we always say, you don't have to be an expert at this either. So you definitely didn't come in with any prior experience to any of this. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to share, you journals after the gong bath. So you want to share some of your journal entries with us too, of your experiences and visions? And just a little tidbit too, that my husband has been coming to the gong bath too, and they started connecting, Trish and Brent, through their meditations too, so that they'll talk about that here too. It's really neat. So that's a neat way how that happens. We see that a lot too, people
we do.
Coming cross meditations here. So go ahead.
So there's quite a few. So I was trying to read back on my past ones so I could say them more vividly for my journaling. There's one for sure. So sometimes in the beginning, I guess I started in the beginning, a lot of times I would see colors or I would feel sensations. But I also had a lot of self-doubt when I kind of did start to see things. So I really struggled with fully letting go and experiencing the meditation. But when I did, and those times that I did, and it was not every time, like every time I went, I wasn't having an extremely profound experience. But the more I went, the more often they did happen. So one in particular was pretty amazing. Sometimes you can almost shift, like I would shift like into an animal or a bird. I remember one time there were birds outside the studio, and I was just laying there. Next thing I know, I was the bird on the branch surrounded by birds, and we were chirping. But so I've had, just little things like that. And then one in particular, in the meditation, I was in Alaska, and I was floating in spirit, and I was above a beach in Ninilchik, which I visited frequently a few times. And when I was there, I was talking to a spirit, which I believe to be a son that I never knew that I had, I guess. So I had lost him so early in the pregnancy that I honestly didn't really know I was pregnant. But through all the meditation, I've found him and connected to him. And so we were kind of having a conversation, and he's like, here, be the eagle. So he was essentially the eagle, and he told me to be the eagle. So I jumped into the body of the eagle, and then I always laugh because I always go crazy. Like as soon as I get into a new animal body, I'm like, this is awesome. So I like went flying down the beach to come back. He's like, no, come back. So I came back, and he goes, look down. And when I looked down, I saw my husband and I walking on the beach. And why this is so profound to me is we were in Alaska the month before, walking on that beach exactly where we were. And there's a lot of eagles on that beach, but I had picked up an eagle feather like right in that area. And so it was almost like he was going like, I was there, I was watching you. And then he told me that. And that was one that was really emotional. I remember after that meditation, I think there's only once or twice I've had to get up and leave the room because I was in tears. That was one of them. Because it was just kind of like, I'm there, like I'm always there, I'm with you. And that was one of those that just kind of left an impression for sure.
That's beautiful.
But yeah, so that was pretty neat. Another one, this one was kind of a big, talking about just self-love and feeling worthy. One of them that I had that was along that line was in the meditation when I got deep, I essentially awoke in a place that was all shattered glass. I should say mirrors. It was all essentially broken mirrors. So I was on a cliff, and everything behind me was a broken mirror. Like what I was standing on was a stone. But as you look off the cliff, it was essentially just a mountain of broken mirrors. So there was nowhere to go. And in my meditations, anytime I see anyone, like mouths don't move. So communication for me is all done just mind to mind.
Telepathically, yeah.
Yes, telepathically. And literally in my mind, I said, this is because I don't think I'm worthy, isn't it? And immediately when that happened, I had like this huge deep yes. And then the ground above me, the sky above me, like this huge circle opened up, and there was larger than life feet, and it was really bright white, and I was essentially pulled up. And when I was pulled up, I couldn't see anything, though. It was all white. I was essentially told I wasn't vibrating high enough yet. But same thing, as soon as I got up there, right away I go flying around, because that's just that's what I was trying to do. And I get told, no, come back. And I was able to have a pretty great conversation with someone whom I believe to be God or Jesus, one or the other. It was pretty. I think it might have been one of my first times kind of connecting to someone of that level. And yeah, it's really unique. I can say, I think with meditation, the more I meditate, the more aware I become, both of myself, what I need to do better. And sometimes when those things come to be, I have pretty interesting, I guess, conversations with people that you wouldn't usually talk with to get there.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that kind of, Brent, talk about you guys share your shared experience here that you've had in meditation. So,
Well, yeah, you must be lucky because you got the eagle. I got an alligator. So I remember doing that, just sitting there. I was floating along, and all of a sudden, boom, I was down and I dropped, and I was in this valley of this water, and I was an alligator. And Melissa comes around at the end, and she does her chimes, and all I could see was I was the alligator coming up on the water, and I was just like wanted to just grab her, but I'm pretty sure she would have probably screamed, and that would have taken everybody out of the meditation.
yeah.
But that was, I think, the only time I think it was an animal. But yeah, just to kind of validate different things that when Trish was in the room, I always like the one time I thought somebody took a picture, like it's just a big flash of white light, and what it was, I'm like, well, that kind of like, I thought it knocked me out of what I was doing, but I was still actually in my meditation, but I felt like I was knocked out. But I'm like who's taking pictures? Like somebody took a picture of this, and then that's when I first started like, she's like, oh, when at the end when you shared, and they're like, I think I know what the white light was. I was being visited, and so ever since then, I know when you're being visited because there's always been such a flash, like a bright light or whatever. So that's kind of how I know when something. So when I know we're sharing, and if I'm going first or second, like when we have to share, I'm like, I can't wait to hear what she says because I know he was there. I know he was there. So, the one, like there's times that I've actually in the meditations, I've seen Jesus, I've seen him come through, but when you were not there, like I saw when he was like in like maroon, like the Sacred Heart Jesus, kind of the heart, and he was just kind of all powerful. But the one time meditating, I think you were next to me or not too far from me, and also he just popped in like Jesus. He had the white robe on, he had the crown of thorns. He just goes, "Hey Brent, how's it going?" I'm like, "Am I good?" I'm like, "Are you with Trish?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's got to figure something out on her own for right now, but I just thought I'd stop over and say hi. And then that was it. It was over and it was gone. I was just like, and you come back like, yeah, he did. He left me. I had to figure something out on my own. And then
That's amazing. Yeah, validation.
Yeah.
And I would say too, like when you were playing, like I think the last time you played, I remember saying that I felt like if I was driving a car, I would have had to put the blinder thing down because it was just so like bright. It was like where you were at, was like annoyingly bright. Like it's like I wanted my eyes. But then at a certain point, like it was all the sound waves, and it turned into like colors of like rainbows and just shooting out all over everybody. So yeah, so
cool. Yeah.
I don't think you're lying. I think.
Yeah, and I guess to elaborate a little bit more. So, all of us have different guides and things that help us at a certain point in our life, and so in our lives. And right now, one of them for me is, Jesus appears to me and he comes to me and he shows me some things. But one of them that was the most interesting is I kept, kind of asking, why me, why me? And he's like, well, I know you before. I've taught you before. And he allowed me to have a vision of what I believe to be a past life, when I don't know if I was a girl or a boy, but I was I know I was young. I wasn't full grown. And in this meditation, I was just running, and I was like running down the streets, and there's like stone streets. And I could see like a crowd and a bunch of people up, and I tripped and I like fell through the crowd, and I remember seeing, and it was actually Jesus walking to be crucified. So he was carrying the cross. And I just stood there, and like, in the meditation, like I immediately start crying, like, no, like what's going on? And then kind of the crowd ended up pushing me out. They were throwing things at him. And I was kind of walking away. But what was interesting coming out of that meditation, when I go back to it, is he, like what I've written down, he looked nothing like what I was taught. And I think that was maybe the most interesting thing to me. So like we all picture him, long flowy hair and kind of thin. He was actually strong. Like he was like how I saw it in my vision. He was a strong man, and his hair was shorter and curly. It wasn't long. And then actually I was rereading my notes and I told Melissa, I'm like, oh, I looked it up and I actually got validation. I put something in there that he had like this red sash across him. And then I didn't remember, in Catholic school and stuff, hearing about this red sash. And so like I typed in my notes from my meditation, look up, see if there's something about a red sash. And so I didn't, it's been, probably over a year, but I looked it up and I guess Matthew talks about a red sash and a couple other say something about, or not a sash, a robe, and someone else says something about something purple. But yeah, so it appeared to me as a red sash. And then in the meditation, I ended up, kind of walking up to the hill and just sitting there. And I was crying and stuff about what was going on with Jesus when I came to. So yeah, so I think there's some sort of maybe a connection there from a previous life, but I don't quite know what it is yet. So I'll have to meditate a lot more to find out.
Yeah. And I think it's great too that you keep a journal too, because every time you come in, it's something different. So to look back at your notes and, like, oh, maybe I didn't remember that or recall that. And maybe it makes sense to you now, where it didn't before. So yeah. Any other profound meditations you want to share about?
Maybe we leave it at that for right now. I'm trying to think.
Fine.
Some of the other ones, some of the other ones go a little bit more, but a little bit more in depth on healing and some things that I was taught. Well, I guess maybe there's one more. One more that was really profound to me, and this one was so profound because when I came back, I felt like I was coughing up dust. But I was when I came to, I was in a little boy's body in India, maybe 6 or 7 years old. And so I was told to walk towards this person that was having troubles breathing. And I was afraid though, because I didn't want to get the little boy sick. So I'm like, I'm saying no, and I'm kind of hesitating, and they're like, no, he's going to be okay. So I put a bubble around him anyways. And I walked over to this man, and I would just kind of follow directions. So essentially when I'm being taught how to do something, I just follow what's told. And so I reached over this man's chest, and as soon as I touched his chest, not only could I feel his lungs, but I could feel his heartbeat at the same time. And then I was told to teach tell his lungs to breathe. And I'm like, it can't be that simple. He's like, take the divine light, put it in his lungs, tell him to breathe. And so I did that, and the man started breathing, and I backed up, or breathing better. I backed up and I looked around, and it was a lot to take in, and I didn't know who to help next. I remember walking, I left the little boy, and I was just walking in spirit down this one alleyway, and there's a kind of a line of sick people, and no one was tending to them. And so I walked up to one man, and I put my hand on his chest, and I was doing the same thing how I was shown. And just as I got ready to turn and leave, he reached up and he saw me. He reached up and he grabbed me and looked at me in the face and was whispered thank you as I got pulled back into the room. And that's when I came back, and I could taste the dust. It was, that one was probably one of my most intense ones. Just because I just remember the car ride home. I think when I finally got home, I just sat in my garage just for a half hour, still taking it in. But
yeah. Wow. Well, it sure has been amazing to watch you, grow and journey through, the last couple of years too. It's thank you for sharing all of that. I know it's not easy for you because sometimes, we just don't know how people are going to take it when we share things like that. But I think it's important. You're going to give somebody hope sharing your stories, that's for sure. And maybe not seem like they're alone as well, too.
Yeah. And I think I've just had to, come to the reality of, it's okay if people don't believe me or think it's real. I mean, I don't even know. It's a battle in my mind half the time, is this really happening or isn't? I mean, and that's where I thank God for Brent, because he sometimes he'll say things like, oh my gosh, okay, that really did happen, and so
yeah,
kind of gives me the confirmation that I need, because I don't know. I think that's half of the challenge of, just connecting to the spirit side is sometimes you don't know, you don't know, and you just have to trust and have faith and believe in yourself,
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yes. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Cause who knows, that could have been a real healing that was taking place like
It could have been.
thousands of miles away. I mean,
It could have,
wow.
yeah, it could have been that, or it could have been something my mind concocted. I don't know which one, which one it is.
Which
But
it's tricky when you get those visions. I mean, the one I saw, that one, there was a girl in red in the room, and I'm standing over another person, and when I said that, there was a kid that goes, "You saw that too?" I'm like, I guess we should have more faith in it. We should have more faith in ourselves, I guess.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's just human nature though. We doubt things that we don't understand. We first doubt. I mean, I think that's been my challenge. I know I'm an engineer by day. I'm very, very logical. So it's really hard when you start talking about something that isn't concrete. It makes it a challenge.
Yeah, I think you sharing that too right there, like that'll show a lot of people like, hey, yeah, there's definitely more out there. Yes.
Yeah.
So a couple more things we want to talk about here. One is our mission statement, and talk a little bit about the meditation studio here. So we have a mission statement that is, one is a safe space for you to come and grow in your own unique way through the power of sound. So like we said before, you don't have to be any kind of spiritual guru or a meditation expert by any means to come into our studio. Everyone is welcome. You're having a bad day, it's the best place to be. I've had a lot of people say, well, I just wasn't having a good day, so I didn't think I should come. You know, we're here for you, whatever, you know, and whomever as well. So when you come into our studio, we provide everything there. We have yoga mats, pillows, blankets, bolsters. We do have a couple of chairs available as well. So when you book online, you can book either a yoga mat or a chair. We do have a little air mattress on the top of the yoga mat as well for a little extra comfort. We do turn the lights down. There's just some salt lamps on, and otherwise it's dimly lit, and you just make yourself a little nice little cocoon nest on the ground there and be comfortable for the next hour. So with that, we start in with a little guided meditation, get you set up for your meditation, you're setting your intention. We do play the crystal singing bowls first. We start 5 minutes or a little more sometimes. And then the rest of the time is mainly the gongs. And the gongs just give off so many different frequencies and sounds that, I mean, it's going to hit all different kinds of points throughout the meditation. If there, you know, it gets into your body, into your cells. So we're mostly made up of water, and water is an awesome conductor. So just imagine what the sound's doing inside. And, you know, Trish talking about, you know, having her surgery and her pain. Yeah, Deb, you are one of our regular meditators here. And I've had back surgery, so we'll kind of like a little influence here. But we both have come a long way doing things that we shouldn't be able to do. And, you know, it's mind over matter. And I feel like sound healing for me anyways, too. It's been a huge benefit for physical pain, losing my dad almost 4 years ago next week. It's helped with the grief as well. So yeah. Anything else you want to add on that, Trish?
No, I think physically it helps. I will also say too, just anyone meditating in general is great, but I would say meditating with the gongs, to me, you know, it's like, you know, when you meditate, usually like you make a little bit of progress here and there. But with the gongs, for me, it's just like this. And I feel it that way for everyone else who comes too. And it's really awesome to see everyone else grow. And when they, you know, when they get their first vision or you know, have their first profound experience, it's really exciting. and I really think that the music
It is.
You know, yeah, it helps us get there faster. I mean, it's the same thing of, you know, if you go to a spa, they play the relaxing spa music. Why? Because it relaxes you, right? You know, if you go to a hard rock concert, your blood pressure is probably elevated a little bit, your heart rate is. So, you know, the gongs just do something different that nothing else that I've heard of can do.
Yep. Deb asked, how can you help how to turn off your brain while meditating? Yeah, I still have that issue, and I own a meditation studio. Trish, you can attest to that sometimes too. Sometimes it just is that way.
Let it ride.
Go with the flow, let it ride. But the more you do it, the easier it is to get into that mindset too. Like I kind of think of when I do my readings, it's like there's a switch that I can flip and go right into my readings. I know that mindset. And I think the same applies for our meditation as well. So it is definitely frequency, but the beauty of this too is that if you can't shut your mind off, you're still getting the full benefits basically of it too, because you're submersed in the frequent healing frequencies from the gongs and the crystal singing bowls.
Yep. One thing that helped me, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. One thing that's helped me also is every time I try and say the same thing every time a thought comes, and it doesn't always work. Sometimes you just have a wandering mind that day. But I always say not now, and those are I just say 2 words like not now, not now, not now, and eventually, at least when I was going 2 to 3 times a week, it was instant. I would lay down on the mat, and I would be gone before the crystal bowls even started. It was like, it was just training, like, nope, not now, not now, not now. And my brain would just, all right, I can't bug her during this time. But now, playing more and not being able to lay down as much, I think I get really excited to lay down and actually meditate, that sometimes I get so excited about it, nothing happens because I'm not relaxing and letting it happen. I'm wanting it too much. So.
Yeah. I think that's important too. Like, Doug, the previous owner of the gongs, we're buying the gongs from Doug, the previous owner of the center. But yeah, doing it with intensity and with frequency as you set your intention, really being mindful of that intention that you set too with your meditation. And it may change throughout your meditation as well too. So just go with it, go with the flow. But yeah, I'd say set yourself up if you're coming, kind of unplug from everything, at least an hour or more if you can beforehand. Try to unwind and get yourself, your body and your mind prepared for the meditation. You'll have better results.
I do listen to spa music usually on my way during my drive just to help a little bit. Yeah, I'll turn on just sounds to help me relax.
Yeah, good. So yeah, if you want to check out our meditation studio, they have it scrolling on the bottom for you. You can visit our website, onemeditationstudio.com. There is a way to, click on there, find out all about us, and book your spot. You do have to reserve your spot because we have limited seats, and $10 for an hour long meditation session. And you're taken care of. We take care of you. You're here to, when you come in, we take care of you. So how else can you get that kind of treatment really nowadays? It's hard to come by. So let us take care of you. Come in and treat yourself. For my bookings too, for my medium readings, again, we've got that scrolling on the bottom as well. I do via phone as well. It works just the same. So if you're interested in that as well, check that out. I do want to have my husband share a little bit about what he's been doing here too. We'll keep Trish on too. But he's an artist as well. And he's been doing some drawings just to, meditate on his own and relax. And so kind of just started off real simply doing a couple of drawings for people, and now he's been doing them weekly. So this is a really cool thing that he's been doing. We'll share a video here too of one of his drawings to get us started here. So I'll give you an idea of what he's doing. Maybe it won't come up. Are you there, Dave? All right, maybe we'll get to that here. So Brett,
it's not loading. It's not letting it load.
It's not. Okay.
Right.
So go ahead, Brent, and share us with us.
Well, I think with I guess maybe it's the sound meditation, maybe, just, I'm just was not in a good place, not a good job. I had been in a job for a lot of years, and so with the sound meditation, I think the kids noticed that when the center closed, that my temperament was I was a little bit grumpier, I guess they would say. And they said they were so. And then come August, I got a new job, and then of course it all coincided, and then the new studio opened up, so I'm able to get into some of those meditations. But now when we work, everybody works at home. Everybody works at home now. It's like I used to. I'm sure a lot of people attest that have seen this or have ever worked for me. Like during meetings, I would draw on a Post-it note, and then I would just take it out. I would just take it out and just give it to somebody and put it on their desk. And people still have them to this day. I've been doing that for quite a while. So now working at home around the holidays, I wrote with my new team. I drew cards. I drew thank you cards or holiday cards and sent them out to him and sent my little thank you message. And then for Christmas, she got me some more drawing stuff, but I didn't stop after that. It just felt good. I just kept drawing, and I just asked for suggestions, and I have so many drawings around the house. I'm like, I don't want them. So I'm just giving them out to people. So that's what it started. I've been getting all the suggestions. So if you're friends with me on Facebook, put a suggestion out there. It might be a little bit before I get to it, but I'll get to it. Even my 90-year-old grandma found out that I'm doing it. So I got to get one for her here. So that one's coming up pretty quick. But just recently we did one, the video that was shared. I had somebody reach out to me. They just lost their dog. And he was cuddling with his mom and saw the picture, or saw one of my videos of me. I just put a little quick little thing together of me doing the drawing and the end result. He saw that, and he's like, he really liked that. And so she reached out and said, can you do one with our dog that passed? I'm like, yeah, just send me a few pictures, and I'll just so I can get the coloring right. And he stopped, and I did it on Sunday morning. Was it Sunday morning? And he was here Sunday afternoon to pick it up. He was that excited to come get his picture. And the look on his face, the thankfulness. Even had my the family was here, and they were kind of tearing up just on his little reaction. But I just do it. I mean, we can do good in the world if that just brings a little bit of happiness. Everybody's got some sort of talent that you can just give away and just do. And I know the Joker says in Batman in the Dark Knight, if you're good at something, never do it for free. But when it's something like that, there it is. There's the picture, handing that off. So that's one thankful little kid. And the song, the mother told me about this song, and I'm like, I never heard it, so I put the song to it, and now I've heard that song like 3 times. I've never heard it before, really? But ever since that, I've heard that song. So it's a good song. So, but that's it. I didn't stop. I like drawing, and yeah, Deb, just put a comment. I'll draw you something.
I always like watching that. I always see them in my Facebook feed, and I always love watching them. So I always watch what you're drawing.
Oh. So yeah, Deb says too with the gong bats. Nice to see the newbies coming. Yeah, we have a lot of new people, so that's great too. It's neat to see a lot of experiencing for the first time. So yeah. But yeah, it's just neat how Brent started doing this, and people come into the house. We had somebody tonight come on and pick a picture up, so that was really neat. Just to quick hello and take a picture with them and connect with people that way. So so it's neat. So it helps him relax.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm sitting there, we're watching. It's like, we're watching TV or sitting there. I'm like, I could sit here and do nothing. I mean, it's the winter time. It's just like, I'm tired of just sitting there watching TV, so I just throw a little something on and just go. And if I can bring a smile to somebody's face.
Yep. So, Brent, you want to talk about your journey with sound healing too here a little bit? What it's done? Yeah,
I think, and this is, and you're gonna, if anybody does this, sometimes this happens your first time or not. She wanted me to go. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go. But then I did, and this was, I don't know, years ago before the center, and it was a lot of intense, and I got myself to relax. I could hear these little kids playing, so I kind of freaked myself out. Well, here, because I thought I was hearing things. Well, here it was kids outside actually playing. So, but I had kind of got to that level. But so it took a bit then she finally talked me into coming back to it at the center of I Am. And I was able to relax like almost instantly. And just, I wanted to do it again, like right after, like right away. Like, so my second experience was just so much more better than the first. Seeing different things, seeing different faces. I'm like, okay, I didn't feel like was able to break it down enough. So I'm like, oh, I need to do it again. I need to get back there. And some of the things like, Trish, that you see, it's like, did I really just see that? What's going on? And like, but I don't know. It's just, but my mood is, a lot different when I do it. But the scenes, that's your thing of like, I feel like puts you on a journey, gets you thinking about different things. Like, especially when you're like, your spirit guides come through, that's kind of pretty intense. Like things you wouldn't expect, like a gorilla. Why on earth would my spirit guide be in a gorilla? I have no idea.
I don't know.
Anyway, but I don't know what it's like, but it's not like your typical, like gorillas, like sometimes when it crescendos, it's like the gorilla is just like screaming like loud and beating its chest, and it's just like gets your attention. Or and there's one little area that we all, I think, like Candy has seen it, and I think you've seen it too, the wolf, that like there was one area like there was a wolf, if you waited and meditated in that area, everybody saw the same wolf.
Yeah.
So just seeing that and just being able to, connect or whatever. And now after that, just kind of go through, it's just like, now it's got me in tune with my chakras and knowing that, hey, and then this is the first time, and like I'm more in tune with my chakras in the winter. It sucks not being able to go outside and walk barefoot. It's, I don't know, there's a huge thing about that. And now when people talk about people being tree huggers, well, now I get it. So we got like a 150-year-old tree that sits over there, and I just like to go down and stand there barefoot and touch it. It's just so calming and so relaxing, but it just kind of feels like you're rooted, like it's that root chakra with keep you rooted to that earth. I'm just like, when we went out to Colorado this summer, I spent a lot of time researching and on chakras, and it's been a help. It's been great just to kind of know and tune. It's even helped even when my working out, just making sure that, hey, am I centered? And before you do a heavy lift or something, you get yourself kind of focused so you're not doing something crazy. Yep, Mother Nature, Deb. And hi, Gidget.
Oh, hi. My mom's watching with her dog. Hi, Gidget. Oh, that's cute. Even our kids come, and Trish, that's one thing we're working on too, right? Is we've got a young yoga instructor, and Becky will be on here in a couple weeks, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. So her daughter Danica took some yoga lessons to be an instructor for youth, and then hopefully get your daughter Willow in to do a little sound healing so they can have a kids meditation. They're the next generation coming up. It's so important that they're involved with this too. So that is something we are hoping to do down the line as well. And doing some traveling. We traveled to Hopkinton, Iowa a few weeks ago, did a meditation at their community center. Oh my gosh, just this little small town in Iowa, and people of all ages. It was amazing, and they loved it. So we go on the road, have gongs, we'll travel, and we're up for anything, try anything. Hopefully this summer too, maybe get outside and do some things at a park and stuff like that.
Well, and speaking of that too, so did you mention our 95 or the 60-inch gong, it being only one of 95 in the world too?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, so our gongs are kind of special. So we have a 50-inch and a 60-inch, and the 60-inch, there's only 95 of them in the world. So even if you want one tomorrow, it takes 1.5 to 2 years to get one. So I think, I don't know about both of you, but that one definitely, I think, helps me travel deep. So that was definitely one I missed the most when the center had closed. So
yeah. And you were looking all around the area for something, and you could not find anything. You're like desperate.
Yes. I was like, do I have to drive to Chicago every other weekend? Like, what do I have to do? And I couldn't find anything that came to what the center had offered. And that's kind of when I came to you, and I'm like, we got to do something.
Yes, yes, yeah. That was definitely like, yeah, we have to keep this in the area. Like I said, it's very special. And we get to travel down to Memphis here at the end of April to the Memphis Gong Chamber. I'm just so excited about this. So they have the 80-inch Paiste gong, the world's largest, one of the world's largest. So that'll be cool. We get to experience our own private gong bath, and we're gonna have some lessons down there. So that'll be a really unique experience. But you know, right now, Trish and I, we don't take any profit from this. We are, you know, paying our rent. We're paying, you know, Doug back for the gongs. We want to keep it here. We're doing it for humanity, and we love what we do. So if you're in the area and you've never tried this, please try it and share it with others that you think may benefit from this as well. And it's up and coming. We're seeing it lots of different places. It was, I think somebody sent it about a month ago. It was on the Today Show or something. So like,
really?
wow. Yeah. So here we go.
Yep.
Yeah. So anything else you want to share, Trish?
I think so. Maybe. I guess one why we chose the name one. So for
Oh
one,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So one I think it's a powerful number and word. They both can mean a lot of things, and it's definitely open to interpret it the way that feels best to you. But I think at the end of the day, we always kind of say, be the one, right? It only takes one person to change the world. I know, Melissa, I think there's something that you posted that I just loved. It was one of your first posts, and it was a person shining bright, and walking into a room and slowly lighting up the entire room. And so that's kind of our hope, and why we keep the prices really low is we want you to come as much as possible and get out of it what we've all been able to get out of it. And we hope that it helps you the way that it's helped us. And we hope that as it helps you and it allows you to shine your brightest and to carry that with you and be as contagious as you can be. So.
Yep. No, that's great. Yeah. I'm so lucky to have you as a partner in this too. So
and you also, I feel very blessed.
Yeah, very blessed that the universe brought us together, definitely for a reason.
Yep. All because of that one self-love picture.
Yes. Yep.
Pick the right picture. That's all I have to say. I don't think anything else would have drawn my attention as much. So.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time and coming on too, Trish.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yes, we'll have you on again, definitely. Yes.
Right.
Yes. So thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. So yeah, we'll wrap things up here. Next week, I will have my friend and personal trainer, Shalene, on. She's going to talk about self-love, and she is a professional bodybuilder and a dog mom and a wife and an amazing person. So we're going to have her on. But we can close us out here with a little section of some gong playing. So thank you again for tuning in, and you guys have a great week. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.